Hey, what's up YouTube? Today's class is going to be a morning flow class, so a little less focused on the alignment, a little more focused on just finding the breath, moving into the postures, finding the flow, the sort of connection between the postures. Let me know if you like this style of class, or if you want to see other type of yoga content. Let me know what it is you want to see. Hit that subscribe button. Yeah, I'm just going to start this one on my knees. You could start it cross-legged if you want, whichever's more comfortable. And as I inhale, I'm just going to lift my arms up, interlace the fingers, extend out of my shoulders. And I'm just lengthening the breath, finding the breath I'm going to use in the class. So nice deep inhales and exhales through the nose if you can. And then I'm going to round my back. So really trying to extend out of the shoulders. And then bringing the hands behind, walking the fingertips together, lifting the chest, arching the back. And then bringing the hands to the mat and just rocking forward, so finding an all fours position and rocking forward and back, connecting it with the breath. And then I'm going to start rounding and arching as I move through. So I'm just sort of moving into that cat-cow while pressing the hips forward and back. Trying to get lots of extension out of the shoulders. And then coming up into downward dog. I'm just going to work on pressing my hips backwards. Find that nice strong connection with the hands. Soften the neck and the head. And then maybe walk in the heels. Warming up the hamstrings. And then lifting the left leg. Nice big inhale, exhale, stepping it forward. So I draw that knee in towards my chest and then bring the foot down. I'm finding a long lunge with the back heel lifted, lifting the arms, interlacing the fingers, extending up. I'm going to pull my ribs and my belly in. And then dropping that back foot, finding a warrior one stance and finding humble warrior arms. So clasping the hands together, inhale, lift the chest, and exhaling, coming forwards. I'm just keeping my shoulders square, my chest level with the front of the mat. I'm not trying to drop down into full humble warrior. I'm going to come into my shoulders a little bit. And then extending the front leg, thinking about drawing that front leg into the hip socket and then coming into those shoulders one more time. So I inhale, lift my chest, and exhaling to come forwards. And then inhaling, lifting up out of the pose, releasing the hands off and stepping back. Finding yourself in a high plank. So I'm going to move through a vinyasa here. If you wanted to keep the knees lifted, you could. I'm going to drop my knees for this first one. As I exhale, elbows pull in. Inhaling, drawing myself through into cobra, upward facing. And then exhaling, pressing my hips back for downward dog. And then lifting the right leg. Nice big inhale. Exhaling, drawing it in towards the chest. Bringing the foot down, finding that long lunge. Interlacing the fingers. Ribs and belly draw in. And then back heel dropping down, warrior one. Humble warrior arms, inhale. And exhaling, coming forwards. Just staying level. Back leg staying nice and strong. And lifting on out of the pose, straightening the front leg, drawing it into the hip socket, inhale. And exhaling, coming forwards. Inhaling, lifting up, releasing the hands, stepping back. I'll take my vinyasa with my knees lifted, this time exhaling, pulling my elbows in. Inhaling, cobra upward facing. And exhaling, pressing those hips back for downward dog. Left leg lifting. I'm going to hold in a three-legged downward dog here. Press the hips back. Extend out of the shoulders strongly. And then next inhale, stepping that left foot forwards. I'm going to leave my right hand grounded, lift my left arm up for a twisted lunge. And then allowing the feet to open to that left-hand side. So just allowing that twisted lunge to rotate a little bit more, lift those hips. And then releasing down. Right foot's going to drop down into warrior two. Lift up. I find warrior two. Bringing the right hand back, lifting the left arm for reverse warrior. I'm going to bring my right hand around and just see if I can tuck it in either on the thigh or on the hip, or on the back. Extending out of this left hand side nice and tall. And deepening that warrior two stance. Extending the front leg. I'm going to keep my right hand where it is. Inhale. And then exhaling, coming into triangle pose, Trikonasana, but with this right hand wrapped. And inhaling, lifting up out of the pose, finding that reverse warrior again. See if you can deepen that warrior two this time. And then releasing off the arms. Bringing the hands down to the mat, stepping back, finding your high plank. Find that vinyasa, so as you exhale, elbows pull in. Inhaling, drawing yourself through. Exhaling, working that transition back into your downward dog. Press the hips back. This time lifting the right leg up. Press those hips back, nice strong arms. And then inhaling, stepping the right foot forward, draw the knee in towards the chest. And find that twisted lunge to start with. Left hand grounding, right hand lifting. Allowing the feet to turn out to the right hand side. Press those hips up, nice strong legs. And then turning the feet back round, finding your warrior two as you lift up. And finding your reverse warrior. Bringing my left hand around, tucking it in. And then extending the front leg, inhaling. And exhaling, coming forward for your triangle. Releasing the gaze, inhale, lifting up out of the pose, finding that reverse warrior one more time. And then lifting up out of the pose, releasing the hands, grounding the hands, stepping back, and find that vinyasa as you exhale, elbows pull in. Inhaling, cobra upward facing. Exhaling, finding yourself in a downward dog. And then lifting the right leg for three-legged downward dog. Option to walk the hands a little closer. Move yourself slowly into half split pose if you wanted, or standing split pose. And then walking the hands back forwards. And stepping that right foot forwards, draw the knee in towards the chest, bring the foot down, and find your Parsvottanasana one more time. So, I'm in a square, hips squaring off to the short side of the mat, front leg drawing into the hip socket, getting comfortable, switching on that back leg, activating it. And then I'm going to take this into a twisted triangle, so Paravita Trikonasana. So my legs are nice and stable, my left hand comes down, my right hand comes up to the sacrum, I lift that right shoulder, I can extend the arm, I can lift the gaze. Finding it easy, you might try and bring the hand down to the floor, to the fingertips. If you're finding it hard, work that right hand on the leg. And then releasing, left hand coming back down. I'm going to transfer some weight forwards here and find a twisted half moon pose. So I'm going to work on my fingertips on this left hand. You might want to pause the video, grab a block if you're not used to the posture. I'm going to activate my back leg, so left leg switching on. And then maybe seeing if I can lift that right shoulder, lift that right arm if I'm feeling balanced, lift the gaze. And then releasing back down. Parsvottanasana one more time. Sink into that front leg. And then bringing the hands down to the mat, find your vinyasa. Exhaling, elbows pull in. Inhaling, cobra upward facing. Exhaling, finding your downward dog. I'm going to come into three-legged downward dog, lifting the left leg. And then again, option to walk the hands back towards the leg. And then walking the hands forward, three-legged downward dog. Inhaling, drawing that knee in towards the chest. Exhaling, Parsvottanasana. Just getting comfortable, drawing the front leg into the hip socket, pushing that back foot through, sinking into the front leg. And then finding twisted triangle, Parivrtta Trikonasana. So bringing my right hand to the left foot, to the left leg, or to the floor. My left hand is on my sacrum to start with. And I'm going to lift that left arm, lift the gaze. Releasing my gaze down, bringing the right hand forwards, fingertips, transitioning the weight so it comes forward, activating my right leg, bringing my left hand to my sacrum, lifting that left shoulder. If I'm balanced, lifting the gaze, extending the arm. Finding Parsvottanasana. Pressing those hips back, drawing the left leg into the hip socket. And then lifting the chest, grounding the hands. Finding your vinyasa. Exhaling, elbows pull in. Inhaling, cobra upward facing. Exhaling. Finding yourself in downward dog. And from here I'm going to work a few hops. So I'm going to lift my left leg first. And I'm just going to try and spring off that right foot to lift my hips up over my shoulders a little bit. I'm not going to lift the right leg very high. And then changing sides. So right leg lifting. You could always just stay in three-legged downward dog here. Inhaling. And then from here, just dropping that right foot, dropping the knees down and pressing back. I'm going to sit back into my heels. I'm going to curl my toes under and just try and bring the hands back. See if I can draw the shoulders back, open my chest. And then lifting up off the heels and come into some Ustrasana prep, some camel prep. So I'm going to keep my toes tucked under to start with, and then I'll flatten them out halfway through. You could keep yours tucked under the whole time if you wanted. I'm going to bring my right hand back to the right foot. Inhale. Bring this left hand across to the right hand side, and then bring it back behind. Inhale to the side, and exhale coming back. Changing sides. Inhaling, right hand coming to the left. Exhaling, coming back. And then coming up. I'm gonna flatten out my feet again. This is optional. Right hand coming back, inhale across to the side. This time I'm gonna pause. And then inhaling, lifting up. So I'm just trying to find my hips pressing forward, squeezing the bum. Right hand coming across to the left hand side first. And then inhaling, lifting on out of the pose. And just pressing back, finding a child's pose for a couple of breaths. At the back, release off, belly melt down into the thighs if you can. And then lifting back up, finding downward dog, press your hips back. I'm going to lift my right leg up, three-legged downward dog. Then I'm going to bend my right knee, allow that right hip to lift up over the left hip. Gaze is coming across to the right hand side. Coming back, square hips, press them back. And then this time I'm going to try and keep the leg straight as I let the hip open. You could always soften the knee a bit. And then bringing the right knee to the right arm, letting the leg come across the mat if you can, and just lengthen that stance out and find a pigeon pose. So I'm going to soften down onto my elbows, maybe even walk the hands forward a little bit, soften all the way down if you're used to the pose. Trying to let everything release. Bringing the hands back. I'm going to tuck under the toes on the left foot, walk it a little closer, and then find my downward dog. And then lifting the left leg for three-legged downward dog. Bending the left knee, letting that left hip open, gaze coming across to the left. Back in to three-legged downward dog with the legs straight, press those hips back. And then option to open the hip, this time keeping the leg a little straighter this time. Lifting that left hip over the right hip. And then finding pigeon pose on the left side. Left knee to the left arm. Lengthening the stance out. And finding your pigeon pose. It can be elbows, it can be flat, or you can be more lifted. If pigeon pose isn't comfortable, don't push into it. And then walking the hands back a little closer. Just going to drop onto my left hip, bring the right leg over the top, and find myself in a twisted position here. So I'm going to bring my gaze across to the right hand side. My left elbow is coming past the knee if I can. I might have a go at grabbing the foot or grabbing the leg. Otherwise, just the hand can be free. And then I'm just going to work into that twist, lifting my chest. And then releasing off. I'm going to bring my right hip down to the mat, bring my left leg over the top, and then turn to the left. And again, this right arm is trying to pass the knee if I can. I'm going to step on the hand, and the left hand supporting. And then releasing off. And I'm going to bring my legs into a soft V. So I'm not trying to push too wide here. I'm just keeping my feet at a sort of comfortable hip distance. And I'm going to pad my hands forwards and just, with the breath, find the hands coming from side to side. And gradually sort of trying to bring myself a little further forward. Nice active legs. I'll take a twist here. I'm going to bring my left hand across to that right leg and then pull my right shoulder back. See if I can maybe reach for the toes, reach for the foot. And then releasing off and bringing that right hand across to the left side and the left arm coming over the top, either reaching for the toe, the foot, the leg, if you can. If not, don't force it. And then releasing off. Inhale, lift the chest, pat the hands. We'll come into pancakes, so trying to come as low as you can for these last few breaths. I'm going to point my toes, draw my belly in. And then inhaling, lifting the chest up, bringing the legs together, and exhaling, lowering yourself down on your mat. We're going to come into bridge pose once we're comfortable on our mat. So I'm bending my knees, bringing my heels back close, and then lifting up for my bridge, drawing the belly in, squeezing the inner thighs together, drawing the shoulder blades back together. Nice active glutes here. And then lowering down. I'm going to progress bridge on a little bit, so I'm going to lift up again. And this time, shoulders pulling together, maybe trying to find those humble warrior hands, so clasping hands together, arms together. Still drawing the belly in, still squeezing the inner thighs together, squeezing the glutes. And then releasing off. I'm going to move into my wheel now, Urdhva Dhanurasana. If you haven't got a wheel, you can just continue to work those bridges. I'm going to keep my wheel quite dynamic and try to move into my shoulders a little bit. So working on that lowering down, lifting up, trying to get the arms a little more extended. For around 10 breaths to finish off, wherever you're working. And then releasing off the pose. After those 10, drawing the knees in. Dropping the knees across to the right hand side. It's also coming across to the left. You can extend this top leg over the bottom if it feels good. We're just keeping those knees together. Just lengthening the breath out. Now trying to let it soften a little now as well. Changing across to the other side. And then coming back into the middle. And I'm going to find a Shavasana. I'm going to have a little rest for a few minutes just to let my body release, to relax. If you wanted to do any other poses before you took your Shavasana, no problem. Let me know if you like the class and let me know what you want to see next. Thanks.